and Pisces is going to be affecting you personally. And if that's the case, then you've definitely come to the right video. We are going to be talking about how this Venus in retrograde transit from March 1st into April 12th will be affecting you by your rising sign. So you definitely have come to the right place. For those of y'all that's coming in for the first time, my name is Crew, aka A Rainy Storm, checking in. I hope everybody's been good. I hope everybody's been great. Okay, if you're ready to transform, then you've come to the right place. All right. For those of y'all checking in for the first time, welcome to my humble abode. For those of y'all that's returning, what it is, what's up? All right, welcome back, welcome in. We are going to be talking, like I said at the beginning, a little bit about the Venus retrograde and Pisces and Aries and Pisces. It'll be in Aries from March 1st, which as I'm recording this, we're on March 2nd, to March 1st to March 27th, and then from Pisces, March 27th to April 12th. Okay, so we'll be talking about how that's going to be affecting by your rising sign. That's going to be the most accurate personally for you. If you don't know how to find your rising sign, you can find your rising sign by getting a free birth chart calculator, birth date, time, date, location. And if you don't know your location, we can talk about it. You can definitely book a personal reading below, or your time, I should say. You can book a personal reading below. And if you just want a personal reading at all, you can definitely book a personal reading below, along with I have classes, courses, information, downloadable, printable sheets also available on my website if you want to check that out. I did say in my previous videos that I've been posting for like the things that we do on a weekly that we're going to have an extended, but we will not be having an extended on these videos or Mercury retrograde. What we will be having though is I'm trying to decide if I want to do a webinar for Neptune and Aries, but there will be a Neptune and Aries video that I drop, but there will be another video attached to the Neptune and Aries video that goes into a longer scape of like the last time we've had in previous cycles that we've had in Neptune and Aries and things like that. But I'll talk more about that as we get closer. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Venus retrograde, okay? Now, when we're talking about Venus retrograde in itself, what is the energy of Venus? What does Venus represent? Venus actually rules over the energy of, and also make sure you like, share, or subscribe this video so it can get to the people that need to. And also, I love when y'all leave comments down below. So please leave me comments down below and tell me your thoughts, or share your thoughts of how you think this is going to be affecting your personal chart, or maybe you've had or known a personal experience in the previous cycle. Okay, the last time, before I do start, we had Venus retrograde in Aries was March. Let me turn my little bit around, adjust my glasses. We had it from March through April 2017. So you want to see what was happening in your life from March to April 2017. I realized, actually, if I want to share a little tidbit about myself, that is actually when I started going by the name Crew. Not necessarily going by the name Crew, but that's when I received a download that told me that my name was Crew. So my Venus retrograde was going through in my second house of, my Aries second house of like value, personal value. It does have to do with finances, but all in all, it really does talk about, it's the Taurus house of like personal value. It's actually the year that I started my mobile archival history project called the Black Lesbian Archives. So I was actually finding myself, as a Black lesbian. I was finding myself in who I was in my like personal identity and all those things. So there were a lot of changes. I also moved at this time as well too. So there were a lot of like inward personal changes, but there was also physical changes that were happening at this time personally for me. My relationships were also changing at this time. And so that's just a little tidbit of what was happening at the time for me personally. But Venus represents it does represent, love, beauty, marriages, spousal, contractual agreements, whether that's spiritual contractual agreements or even physical contractual agreements. But Venus, it also rules like partnerships, business partnerships as well. But Venus really has to do with like our intimate relationships, okay? It has to do with our interpersonal relationships with other people, specifically because Venus usually has to do with femininity or women. So usually it has to do with women or just femininity. But you know, when we have this energy in the sign of Aries, Aries having to do a lot with self-preservation, Aries having to do with the energy of the self and the soul. And I mean like physical soul, but also like the physical body, the soul person, the soul survivor, if you will, the soldier, if you will, the Martian, the you know, the warrior, if you will. This has to do with the self and who you are as a person. Now, when we have this energy go into, it also has to do with vitality and energy as well too. Now, and then Venus being like the natural attractor energy, if you get picking up what I'm putting down, putting it back into yourself. All right. Then you have Pisces, which, you know, Venus is actually exalted in, because Venus also loves to indulge, right? But it also loves to give, even though it's an attractor. It also like has this kind of flamboyancy to it of like, ooh, I can, you know, no, please. It can have this grandiose kind of energy of like, the more the merrier, or, you know, we have enough where that came from kind of energy. And Pisces is the energy that kind of gives with no bounds. It's so energy. It's so interesting that this energy is very like, it's very polar, right? Because Aries is about like, okay, I need to take care of me first in order for me to take care of outside things. Pisces is like, I have this energy to be able to pour out. And sometimes, even though it's exalted here, sometimes this energy can be at its detriment, right? I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying that the Aries energy or the Pisces energy are one or whatever, but I am saying there's a distinct difference and a clear difference between how can I serve myself versus how can I pour out and just kind of give out. And there's no, you know, Pisces is a fish. It has no bounds. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to be the lesson in retrograde of the difference between how much are we giving out, right? And how much are we putting back into ourselves? And what does that look like as a whole when it comes to you and other people and the relationships that you have to other people? So this is going to be a retrograde is all the review, reassess, okay? All of redo, all of those things, right? And so this retrograde time and period is going to allow you to do those things before we hop into the next chapter. You know, we also have Mercury retrograde coming up. We have eclipses coming up. Then Neptune is going to be moving to Aries on the 30th of March. So there's going to be a lot of changes, even splittings and cuttings, because at the end of the day, Aries is ruled by Mars. So there could be there's an energy of Aries that's very passionate, but there's also an energy of Aries that can be very like, and cut, Aries and Scorpio very much share this energy as well too. But you can definitely see a split and a cut, and it can be a little bit more harsh as well. We're also going to be experiencing this Venus retrograde while Saturn is still in Pisces before it moves into Aries as well. So it's going to be, it might be a little bit strict. It might be a little bit like, I'm going to say this, okay? The more that you pull, all right, the more that you try to squeeze, even though there's something that it is telling you it is time to release, the harder it's going to be for you, okay? The more, and I know when I say this, it's like, oh, okay. No, it's easier said than done. Trust me, all right? Trust me, all right? If it's one thing that I'm learning, there's a couple things that I'm learning with this Venus retrograde coming back around, but it is the story of my value, all right? It's the story of my value, my personal value of who I am as a person, right? Not how much you can give, not what you can do, right? Aries just kind of comes in as like, I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to, I kind of come in, I'm like, I'm just me, and I'm showing up as me, and that in itself is enough. Even if the whole group around them don't feel like that's the case, you know, even if everybody else around Aries is like, that's like, what? You know, it's like, who is this? You know what I'm saying? But Aries is going to come with that energy. Pisces sometimes, it's a beautiful energy to be able to give unconditionally, right? But unfortunately, right, we live in a world where there are things that have conditions. I'm not saying that we should, but I am saying that there are things that have conditions. And this is all directly correlated to your boundaries and your worth, okay? Like, what are you bringing in? You got to have to look around and ask yourself, like, what am I actually bringing in? You know, you're reviewing your relationships, right? Even if these relationships aren't in your life right now, but even past previous relationships, like the things that you have willingly allowed and things that you've willingly accepted and things that you've willingly, like, maybe just, you know, tossed to the side for the sake of other people. And that's when we talk about its detriment, right? Even though this energy, Pisces specifically, is not as a detriment, it's definitely not as strongest with Aries. It's the opposite of that, actually, because it's the opposite of Venus and Libra, which is the opposite of Aries. You know, we have these polar opposites. So to me, this is about finding balance in between the two. You're finding balance of how to have that kind of self-assuredness and self-preservation within yourself. But then you also have this energy in Pisces that's like, baby, you know, I can give, but at its limits. And that's where Saturn is supporting and helping. Saturn is going to be supporting and helping, even though Saturn and Venus not necessarily like on the same page for planetary wise. They're very opposite energies planetary wise, but they're asking these things when we're talking about this energy here with this Venus and Saturn and Pisces as it moves into this energy here, okay? So we have, let me see, lessons with Venus and Aries, and I'm going to get into the rising signs after this. Lessons with Venus and Aries is fulfilling your own wants, needs, and desires, right? Getting better aligned with what it is that you need for yourself first, because that's going to be the thing. You can't give from an empty cup, baby. You can't give from an empty cup. Okay? Because it's going to be dry as the bottom of the well. All right? The very bottom of the tip of the well is going to be dry. Okay? So fill your cup. Okay? Fill it first. All right? Pisces it's immutable water. Right? Cardinal fire, immutable water. Aries, cardinal fire. Pisces, mutable water. So it's the thing that keeps giving and 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 giving, right? You know, it's a beautiful thing because you know you have it to give, but it doesn't mean you should. And that's hard, you know? It's hard to kind of be in that energy. You know, Venus and Pisces sometimes reminds me of the energy of Venus and Libra in a sense, or just Librian energy in the sense of the people-pleasing tendencies, in a sense. There can be this need to want to please other people, even if it's subconsciously. Even if you're looking at this and you're triggered by this and you're like, well, I don't really, maybe even subconsciously, right? Because essentially, Pisces is all 12 signs. So Pisces knows there's this overcasting of empathy, I should say, when it comes to Piscean energy, right? And you know that you have it to give. Like, I have a lot of love to give, you know. I know that even essentially there's here that I've been put specifically in people's place in life for these different lessons and things. But it doesn't mean you got to take no BS, all right? It does not mean that you got to take any wood and nickels, all right? I need you to know that. I'm not just talking about Pisces energy. I'm just saying the energy that we're going to be collectively experiencing while Venus is in retrograde, all right? Okay. All right. Okay, and then also the other lesson that we have here is creating firm physical and spiritual boundaries with yourself and with others, all right? So that's a little bit what we have here. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I will timestamp these so y'all can go to your specific signs. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and also let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Think back, and I'm going to keep saying this throughout the video, to what was happening in your life from March to April of 2017, and let me know what lessons that you've learned down in the comments below. Thank you. All right, so we're going to start with Aries rising. Aries, Venus retrograde is going to be happening in your first house first, and then it'll be going back into your 12th house. The Venus planet is also connected to your 2nd and 7th house. So I think a lot of this is going to have to do essentially with you reevaluating yourself, and because your 7th house sits on the opposite of your first house, which Aries is you, your first house, your 7th house is other people, you're going to be probably reevaluating your relationships and your friendships. And also when it goes into Pisces, your subconscious thoughts, your subconscious patterns, your subconscious mind, you know, you're going to have to find that balance between you and others. And I know we talk about Aries being this sign of self-preservation, but when you're Aries rising, you're learning this energy, okay? You're learning the energy of Aries, how to preserve yourself, okay? How to stand up for yourself, how to speak up for yourself. Knowing when people got you up, all right? You know what I mean? And setting the tail straight, all right? And I'm not saying it got to be this harsh, but it is like going back. So take a really good look at your relationships, Aries, and take a real good look with yourself. How are you showing up for yourself in relationships with other people? How are people showing up in relationships with you? You know, are you the type that you kind of allow people to kind of walk all over you? You know? Are you the type that kind of stands up and says whatever it is that you have to say? Okay. Because that's what we find in here. All right. And I know that Mars in Cancer has probably been creating a ruckus in that 4th house. Unless you've used it for like something creative, or maybe somebody's having a baby or whatever the case may be. Mars has been direct, well, it was in retrograde in Cancer and is now direct in Cancer. So it's probably been doing the most in that 4th house. So now you have to go back and look at some things and be like, let's really see where these things have come from. Like, let's get to the root of where these behaviors have stemmed from that now are in direct effect of my personal relationships and things. Whether that's a marital relationship, okay, because like I said, it's all intimate relationships when we're talking about Venus here. Whereas it's a romantic relationship, whether it's just friendships, whether it's a mothership, somebody's ship, all right? Your ship, they ship, all right? So just think about that. So I smell some little tree over here. A big reevaluation of the self, and drawing a line. What I put is drawing a line in the sand, all right? Saying, this is where my boundary is. This is where you can no longer cross, okay? Because if you cross it, X marks the spot. You're done. It's not X marks the spot, because that's what we're finding. No, not. We Xing that on out, okay? Okay, for Taurus rising, we have the 12th house, Venus retrograde going through your 12th house, and also through Pisces in your 11th house. Venus, the planet Venus, is connected to your 1st and your 6th house. So this is going to be about your like everyday routines. You know, Taurus is a fixed energy, so it kind of likes and is set in its ways and its routines. But this is going to be kind of asking you to reevaluate what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Is it things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis supporting you, or is it actually hindering you? You know what I mean? Is it elevating you, your mind, body, soul, and spirit, or is it weighing you down? And maybe you need to switch some things up on a day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? Maybe instead of going to go get, you know, I don't know. For example, maybe you drinking coffee every morning. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you get some coffee every morning, you're drinking coffee every morning. Maybe you switch that up for tea instead. And that's just a little example, something to just kind of fuel your body. Getting back into like a physical workout routine, you know, doing some shadow work. You know what I mean? Because of that 12th house, Venus in the 12th house, doing some subconscious mental work. Aries also rules the head. Pisces rules the feet. You know, going to go get some maybe feet work done, or some, you know, body work done, you know, like a physical massage and things, just to move energy out of your body and things. So breaking out of unhealthy routines and patterns, finding balance in your day-to-day life and your day-to-day lifestyle and the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. So like I said, you can bring that balance back into your day-to-day life and things like that. I'm sorry, y'all. I literally just got bit by a mosquito, and it is my legs. I don't know what it is about my legs. God, they just love my legs, child. Anyway, so that's what you can see with that. You can also feel like, especially when it comes to I'm gonna say this. There are gonna be some old subconscious things coming up in your mind. Your dreams also might be very telling as well, so you might want to even keep a dream journal at this time, Taurus rising. But there are going to probably be some things that are a little triggering at this time that might make that Taurian foundation feel a little bit unstable at this time. So that's why I'm saying you're really going to need like some mental, physical, emotional grounding going on, so you don't feel like you're completely off, you know, out of whack and off balance and stuff like that, because you could really start feeling that hitting home for you. Okay, so I just want you to keep that in mind as you move in through this month, because you might start to feel a little frustrated, especially when it comes to your relationships. And so you just want to maybe take a couple of deep breaths. Don't let the bull out just yet. You feel me? And see how you can kind of reassess the space that you want to be in on a personal level. Okay? For the Gemini rising, all right? The Venus retrograde is going to be going through your 11th house first, and then it's going to go into Pisces, into your 10th house. This is Venus specifically is connected to your 5th house and your 12th house, Venus being Libra and Taurus energy, the houses that they rule. So this energy you'll definitely see. Your subconscious becomes your reality is the theme for you for this Venus retrograde. You know, at the end of the day, Gemini is the messenger. All right. You know when people say I'm just the messenger? That's very much so Gemini. Like, I'm just the messenger. So whatever your subconscious thoughts are telling you, like whatever your I'm sorry, because yeah, we're talking about our 12th house, the Venus 12th house. Whatever your subconscious thoughts are telling you, those are the things that are like consistently manifesting in your life on a day-to-day. Now, even though there is going to be reevaluation of like, you know, your 11th house, which is like your friendships, organizations that you're connected to, long-term goals, plans, associations, and then the 10th house, which is we say the career, but honestly, 10th house to me is just like overall life mission and life purpose. You're going to be really sitting with yourself and trying to assess like, what is my purpose in this lifetime? What are some of the things that I want to create? What vision do I have in the world, and how do I want to make those things happen, you know? And with Gemini rising, because there is a fluidity to this energy, it can feel a little more, you could feel a little bit more fluid with this energy, but there's nothing wrong with it, because you're supposed to be fluid in this lifetime. Kind of honestly, especially with Gemini rising, it's more so like, you know, being like a kid and navigating this life and moving through this life, like, you know, there's a certain energy of curiosity that comes with this energy. And so I would even say, honestly, Gemini rising, if you can really get into things that make you feel playful, like, let's say maybe you've kind of stopped doing the things that have made you feel like alive and free-spirited and things like that, I would say during this Venus retrograde, get back into those things that make you feel like that. You know, Aries is essentially the kid. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It's like the little kid. You feel me? So like, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe, you know, you're revising your friendships. You're looking into your friendships and seeing if these friendships actually bring out the creativity in you that make you feel alive. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you have to have people in order to make you do that, but like, essentially, does your environment like really foster that like inner child and curiosity within you to explore and play, and also like really kind of challenge your mind? Because like you need, I'm not saying you need to be overstimulated, because you can feel overstimulated, but you need that mental stimulation, you need that intellectual stimulation. So do you have people around you, do you have visions and of this world and this life that you want to create that actually make you feel like that, you know, that make you feel alive? I don't even have to say like necessarily like a kid, because I don't know exactly your childhood, but those things that just make you feel like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you wake up and you're excited. You have that inner child wonder that makes you kind of dive in and want to do something a little bit different than like your day-to-day things. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that you could definitely see for Gemini rising energy here. Go ahead and move over to Cancer rising. So the Cancer risings, this is going to be happening in your 10th house. Venus is going to be going through Aries in your 10th house, and also your 9th house. Venus, which is the ruling over Libra and Taurus houses, is connected to your 4th house and your 11th house, Cancer rising. So you can definitely see when it comes to your 10th house, what is your overall, I would say, especially when it comes to your life mission, life vision, life purpose. There can definitely be changes, some much needed changes in the home. I would definitely say this, Cancer rising, if your home does not match how you feel about you, like, I'll say this. If your home does not match the way that you want to feel about yourself, if you don't already currently feel about yourself, it's going to be a lot for you to function in this world. You know, being a Cancer rising, you're learning the lessons not only of like, you know, nurturing and really understanding a deep and being more in tune with your emotions, but this is like you finding that bit of home. And this could also be not just your internal home, but your physical home as well, because your 1st house is your physical space, right? So your home space, you know, or just how you make the space that you're in sacred, is a really big part of your overall life purpose and transformation. It is going to help you through very major transitions that I'm sure you felt and are going through now. You know, especially while Mars is probably on your 1st house. It's probably been exhausting. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that you could definitely see, is maybe changes in what you're doing from home. You know, 10th house Aries is usually, you'll see somebody who's definitely like more independent, you know, somebody who is definitely somebody who is more self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? You can even see entrepreneurs here, people who are basically creating from themselves, like what they want and things like that. So you can definitely see that here. And just overall life purpose, like, you know, your life purpose and your life mission, because we are talking about 10th house here, like your vision for the world holds into your 10th house as well here. Your belief system can also be coming and undergoing a shift and change and things like that. You might even find yourself starting to release some things in the home. You know, I know I'm going back to the 4th house because Venus is connected to these houses, but like maybe if it's not your physical home, maybe it's some beliefs that maybe you've had housed for a very, very long time. So like you're starting to like, well, I used to think this way and I used to believe this and I used to think about things in this way, but now, you know what? I kind of really don't think like this anymore. I kind of don't really jive with this kind of like belief or anything like that anymore. I kind of want to do something a little different. So this could definitely be happening when it comes to, you know, just switches and changes when it comes to like your just overall vision and purpose of the world. Like definitely that. Like I'm just keep thinking, because I know Mars has been, you probably have been feeling really lethargic as well recently, and just trying to gain your energy back, you know, trying to gain your momentum back and things like that, because Mars has been retrograding on you. So during this retrograde time, while you are kind of maybe even defrosting, if you will, you might be coming to some realizations as to how you kind of want to redo or revise your overall life mission and life purpose. Whatever you're doing now might not necessarily be what you're going to be sticking with in the coming years. You might just be like throwing some things out, honestly, whether that's physically throwing some things out or physically throwing some things out. And you know, Venus is relationships as well too, so that can definitely be like overall, because your belief system's changing, the people that you associated with might be changing, or just things are elevating or are transitioning in this particular part of your life. Risings, we have the energy of Aries going through your 9th house and the energy of Pisces going through your 8th house, which Venus essentially is connected to your 3rd house and also your 10th house. So I would definitely say with this energy, you could be visiting a place, maybe like a place that you haven't been in a while. You know, you could be maybe returning to a place, or maybe you consider moving to a place that you visited in the past. Whether you're living there long term or you're just visiting a place long term, because Venus is transiting through that 9th house, and that usually has to do with like long distance travel. Maybe you could be thinking about returning to some type of form of education or higher education at this time, or considering maybe, I don't know, learning some type of new skill. A lot of it has to do with any type of trade or some type of form of trade. You can definitely see here. You might be wanting to take some type of break somewhere. I would definitely recommend it if you can, Leo rising, to take, you know, if you have the time and energy to do so. You have the time to do it. It's crazy how you have to schedule time to take a break. It's insane. Anyway, but if you have the time and if you can, I would definitely recommend, you know, taking some time out to be able to take some type of break if you can. Also too, there might be some stresses at work, or had been some stresses at work, or maybe even stresses in your neighborhood as well too. Are things just going on in your environment that need to be cleared out or need to be reassessed as well, so you can move on to the next phase here. A healing retreat can be very good, or even if you can't get to necessarily like some type of healing retreat, you need some time and space to just be, Leo rising. Like, you need a good amount of time to just take off. A little bit of time for yourself so you can like recalibrate, because it probably has been a little rough. Especially even if it's not outwardly, which it could definitely be some like outside things. It could be like a lot of internal shifts that have been happening inside of you that you're having to go through and things like that. So, you know, a release is what's happening, especially as Venus moves into your 8th house. Spiritually, I feel like you're getting re-established as well too. You know, you might have some like, I would even say some really heightened cosmic downloads or insights that are coming to you at this time, especially with Venus retrograding through your 8th house. There could be some hidden things that come to light as well too, that maybe you weren't privy to or aware of, or things that maybe were hidden in the past that you have to revisit again, especially in that 8th house. So things might be kind of creeping up, especially when it pertains to, I would say, things that were hidden. Also too, 8th house could be doing with other people's money, or just shared resources or anything like that. So those things could also be coming up as well too. Revisiting things like that, deciding if you want to keep something or let something go physically. And this could be in pertains to your overall life purpose. I know 10th house can do career, but like outside of that, your life purpose and things like that. And just maybe even reassessing if there's a place that you want to still stay, or somewhere that you might even want to move away from. So that's what I have. Virgo rising. Okay, for Virgo rising, okay, we have the Venus retrograde moving through the 8th house for you, and also through the 7th house for you, Aries to Pisces. This energy is connected to the 2nd and 9th house. And so you might just be wanting to feel, you might be feeling like you just need to go internal for a second. Relationships might make you be feeling a little bit Just maybe a little bit irritable at this time. Things internally that are going on with you might make you be feeling a little bit like you kind of want to need some like you time and time to just kind of go within at this time. You're going to be reviewing your relationships with other people. You might be even pulling out the pros and cons book is what I'm getting. The pros and cons book. Does this benefit? Let me see. My pros list and my cons list, kind of like looking to see if there are relationships around you that, especially intimate relationships, that are, no, not beneficial. It's not necessarily beneficial. I mean, I guess it can be beneficial more so to like your overall mental, physical health and well-being is some of the things that you're going to be doing. So that alone time, are you carving out time for you to be by yourself and be alone, is going to give you a lot of insight as to if you want to continue to have this particular relationship around you, or if you want to sever a particular relationship and things around you here. You want to also ask yourself at this time, much like Aries, how do you show up in relationships with people? And how do people show up in relationships in regards to you? Are you coming up as the therapist, right? Or are you coming up as yourself and sharing yourself and being vulnerable here? Because you could feel like you aren't necessarily, maybe you feel like you're being taken for granted in certain situations and scenarios and things like that. So this inward time is going to allow you to reassess like how you are coming and showing up with yourself as well too here. Okay. So that's definitely something that you can see. I would definitely say touch grass, or do some type of deep meditation. Whatever that looks like for you. Meditation doesn't have to be you meditating and humming and all. It could be whatever. You can dance, you could sing, you can go and take a little walk around the park, whatever it may be, but get that time and space for yourself so you can really figure out what that's going to look like personally for you. You know what I mean? So that is what I have a little bit for Libra rising. The Venus retrograde is going to be going through your 7th house and also your 6th house, and Venus is connected to your 1st house and to your 8th house, Libra rising. And so relationships are also going to be in review as for all of us. You can feel like you are either getting closer to someone, or and maybe getting like clarity from someone in a relationship, or you can even feel maybe like it's time to let a relationship go and move on from the relationship. Now, how it's going to go personally for you is really up to you and what you want to do. But this is something that's going to be coming up specifically for you. And you are going to have to decide what it is that you want to do with that information, if you will. Okay? Because, yeah, it could feel like, yeah, there just could be a lot of feelings and emotions towards that. You could feel kind of like that Libra, I don't know, should I stay, should I go, I don't know, kind of energy here. But just know that that is going to be something that you're feeling. Also, your personal day-to-day routines and activities that you're doing to help with your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health is also here too. There could be changes in the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis as well. Here, mind you, we do have eclipses this month. All right, Mercury retrograde this month, and Neptune and Aries this month. So at least at the end of the month for Neptune and Aries, but still, there will be changes. There will be some very significant changes that are happening in your life when it comes to these things. And now is the time to do that. So I would say for Libra rising, it's going to be best for you to really, really, really focus on your mental health, like your overall mental health and wellness, so you can assess these particular relationships that are in your life, so you can figure out, like I said, if they're going to be what is best for you at this time, or have they served their purpose and have they served their course. Okay, this could feel I'm not gonna lie, Libra, it might even feel a little soul wrenching in this time to, you know, have to be letting some things go, you know. So just give yourself that time and energy to be able to really get some emotional clarity as to where you're at internally, but also where you're at in terms of your intimate and close relationships with people with you and to you, you know. Definitely there. I could like feel the heaviness as I'm saying this for real, for Libra risings, like just, you know, having to make like those decisions as to like, I don't really want to let this go, but I know that right now personally it's just not what I need right now. Or like I said, there could be some changes that happen within these relationships and you're like, okay, this is the type of energy that I'm talking about right now. This is what I want. This is what I want to see. So it can definitely go both ways. You just never know with Libra. No shade. No shade. But no, for real, you just never know how this can actually go. Eclipses is like a wild card anyway too, so you just never know. For Scorpio rising, all right, we have Venus going through your 6th house and also your 5th house. And Venus is connected to your, let me see, your 7th house and your 12th house as well, tier 2. All right. So what you're going to see with Venus in Aries and Venus in Pisces, you'll see definitely going back over your physical routines, health, wellness, you know. Also too, with the Venus and Pisces energy, you could definitely see like, what are you creating for yourself? Like, what are you doing creatively? I know 5th house can also be like romantic relationships, which is like, you know, flirting, fleeting romance, or just a romantic fling, or just romantic things and things like that. But like, how are you actually putting that back into yourself? Or are you just kind of giving this energy freely out, you know, to people in situations and things? You know, are you taking care of your physical health and wellness? Are you taking care of your physical body? Have you kind of maybe, you know, kind of like dropped a little bit of like, you know, your day-to-day routines and activities and things like that? Like Aries needs to feel that fire on a day-to-day basis. You know, they need to feel that burn. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that burn, baby, burn. I'm talking about that burn that you feel when you're taking care of your physical health and wellness on a day-to-day basis, that invigorating feeling. That right there, when you're taking care of that, also fuels into your creativity and passions as well. You're that Martian, that Mars energy can also be a healthy indicator of, you know, really get into the nitty-gritty when it comes to your, you know, physical health and wellness on a day-to-day basis. You know, you playing an instrument, playing a guitar, whatever the case, hitting some drums. And these are just examples. This can be anything. You know, maybe you like to paint, you know, maybe you like to write, you know, maybe you like to draw. I don't know, something that gets that creative energy on brand, on a key. You know what I'm saying? You need to be doing that with your physical day-to-day activities and things like that. I think you'll start to feel a lot better too, mentally, emotionally, and I think it'll also help with your personal relationships with people, because when you're not physically in the best space, it definitely starts to affect the things around you. You don't really show up for things yourself, people, and your creativity, you know, and you're meant to create. Like, your physical body is a conduit for creation, right? And the ways in which you're expressing that creativity. So this would be a good time to reassess, like, what is it that you want to create for yourself? You know, what is it that you want to bring into this world that really showcases your expression, that showcases your emotions, your feelings, you know what I'm saying? And creativity is the means for that, you know? So yeah, that's what I have for Scorpio Did I put that on there? Yes, that's what I have for Scorpio rising as well here too. There could also be romantic relationships circling back as well during this time. All right, so now we have Sagittarius rising. Oop, I have to put that on here. Say Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius rising, we have Aries going through the 5th house, Pisces going through the 4th house. For this Venus retrograde, it's going to be connected to your, Venus is connected to your 5th house and also your 10th house. You need your spark back again, Sagittarius rising. I feel like maybe there was some old things that you put in the back burner, especially when it came to your creativity. Maybe you like shelved a lot of things and you're like, you know what, no, I'm just gonna come back to it. I'm good. Like, I'll just figure something out, you know, later or another time, whatever the case may be. But like, this is the time to be figuring those things out when it comes to your creativity. If you write, sing, dance, you know, these are the things you need to be doing right now. All right. I would definitely say you want to clear out your home, clear out space in your home, maybe give away things. Like, if you need to clear the space in your home, clear the space in your home. But if you need to give away old things, things that you don't use anymore, just create new energy, so the energy that you need, especially when it comes for creativity, can really begin to like flow better, and things can start kind of coming back to you, because you're going to want to create. You're going to need an outlet at this time with Venus retrograde moving through your 5th house here. Maybe you're even considering a move, or you're either considering a move, or maybe you're thinking about returning back to a space. But I feel like you're probably considering moving to a new space, or maybe you're even revisiting like old family dynamics if you're not actually physically moving, but old family dynamics, old family traumas and things like that. Maybe there was a partnership or something like that back in the day, you know, used to live with, or some type of partnership. No, it's like it don't have to be necessarily marital partnership. Maybe somebody, it could be considering returning back to a place. I'm getting mixed things here. Like, there's a part that's like somebody can be returning, somebody can be leaving a home space, because like I said, that 4th house is going through your 4th house, Pisces, towards the end of the month. Can also be something that's here too. So you either may be returning to an old space, or you're moving to a new space, or somebody might be coming to your space. I'm not really sure what that's about. Let me know in the comments down below for sure. But I think your whatever creative energy here, you definitely want to use. If there's any kind of things that you've used that have like, that are connected to like some type of negative escapism, and that could be any type of escapism. I'm not just talking about drugs, sex, and alcohol, but any kind of escapism, that can also be reassessed at this time as well too, when it comes to that. If it has to do with any type of children, that can also be a thing here too. I would definitely say, especially if it comes to like emotional like flings and stuff, be careful, because you could get pregnant at this time, you know. Especially if you're connecting with an old fling or an old flame, especially moving through that 5th house, you know, could be some like rekindling going on. Next thing you know, especially with Mars and Cancer, babies being born. So just be careful with that, you know. Or maybe there could be some negotiations with children as well here too. All those types of things happening here. All right. There's a little bit about Sagittarius rising. Capricorn rising. Aries is going to be moving through your 4th house and 3rd house towards the end of the month in Pisces. This is going to be connected to your, Venus is connected to your 4th house and your 9th house. I would say there could be some familial relationships. It could definitely have to do with the women in your life, or your mother, that is up for consideration. You need to choose yourself. All right. You might have shouldered a lot of responsibility in terms of your family dynamic, or this could be the opposite. If it's the opposite energy. Maybe it either is a give, take. It's a give. It's some type of imbalance of give and take, you know. And I'm not just talking about financially either. I'm talking about like emotional, and something there needs to be cleared up with family dynamics here. There could be conversations that are being had when, especially because the third house also has to do with communication. There could be some conversations that are being had. I will say, especially with Mars and Cancer at the moment, things could be getting a little heated if they haven't already, you know, especially because Mars is, you know, transiting your 7th house of intimate relationships as well. So things could be getting a little heated. I would just say, when everybody might have the capacity to talk about the things, then maybe that's when y'all need to take the time to talk about some things. If you're sitting up here and you're looking at this video and you're like, yeah, it's probably not going to go down that way. Okay, well, if it's not going to go down that way and you're still in a safe space enough to be able to really talk over some family issues and family matters, you're going to have to decide whether that is the relation important enough, is the respect there for you to be able to continue to move forward with that relationship, or is it something that you are going to have to cut? Because after the eclipses, listen, after the eclipses this month, baby, there's no going back. Like, after this, there's no going back, baby. There's no going back. Like, this is going to be either the end. This is going to be the end of new beginnings. So whatever falls is because it needs to fall. If it comes back in the future, okay, but right now, this is the cuts. This is the final cuts. And you're learning that as a Capricorn rising, all right? So really assess some of the things, family things. If it's not directly in your family, it can be some childhood traumas and things that are being brought up. How these different relationships have shaped your external relationships and dynamics with relationships, intimate relationships with other people, okay? Your communication style, okay? Because Venus is going to move in the Pisces, like I said, in that 3rd house of communication. So how are you communicating? Are you people-pleasing and overgiving in your relationships? Do you have boundaries? Because Saturn's been moving through that 3rd house, and I'm pretty sure you've had to really establish some really significant boundaries within your life and personal and familial relationships here, okay? So I need you to get some clarity when it comes to your home, family, familial, intimate relationships. And also your home, too. You know, your physical home. Like, is it somewhere that you want to stay? Or maybe you're thinking even about moving, because Aries is on the move. And Venus retrograde is going to ask you if the place that you're staying is helping you grow, or is it running you in the ground, okay? Aquarius rising, you have Aries going through the 3rd house, and Venus and Aries going through the 3rd house, and Venus and Aries at the end of the month also going through the 2nd house. It's connected. Venus is connected to your 3rd house and your 8th house. Oh, you about to be stingy with your time during this time. You about to be very, very stingy with your time and your energy, and how much you give and how much you receive, okay? You know, if you are constantly like out, and I don't just mean like physically giving, but like physically out and giving like a lot of your time and energy, and you find yourself being drained in the environments that you're giving to, you're going to be like, well, wait, let me pull back just a little bit. Let me pull back. But I also would say on the opposite end of this, you can see maybe some relatives, because 3rd house I assume was like family members, relatives, and things like that. You can see people coming back as well here. Like, maybe you haven't seen somebody in a while, and, you know, you have people maybe coming back into your life, family members and things like that that you haven't seen in your life. Now, if this doesn't necessarily have to do with your family members, you could definitely see your communication style, you know, switching and changing. Reassessing your personal values and also finances and things like that, and how the two correlate, you know, because at the end of the day, all this stuff is about energy. And so this is going to be like an overhaul of how much you are being spent, all right, and what directions you are being spent, all right. So take a really hard look on how you might be spent in your relationships with people and others. Also, too, third house has to do with like the neighborhoods that you're also into. This also has to do with short distance travel. So you could be taking like a short distance trip somewhere, moving back somewhere, or you can also be considering a move out of your own neighborhood, or maybe a neighborhood that you're familiar with as well too here. But I think this is definitely a time, the month of March is a time for self-preservation. You need to take more time to be inward, especially at least the first half of the month. Because I mean, I feel like the end of the month, you're gonna really want to have that energy here to kind of be a little bit more, you know, especially because Saturn is going to be with Venus retrograde in Pisces here too. So yeah, really getting into your mind. I mean, your Aquarius rising, so you're learning how to really be in the mind in a sense, but reassessing your communication, reassessing your familial relationships that you have with people. And I wouldn't even say people that are just like relatives and family members, but people that feel like family or have felt like family in the past as well here too. Just take a step back and see what happens, all right, with Aquarius energy here too. You could also be reassessing the ways in which you want to not only like your own personal values with Venus moving through the second house of the later half of the month, but like just how you want to show up to your when it comes to like your finances and things like that in the future. Like, again, y'all, when it comes to like my perspective in money and finances and capitalism, I try to think of things in a linear way. And when I say linear, I mean like, okay, what would happen if we didn't necessarily have those things available to us, anything, and like capitalism was just something different. So I'm trying to really consider that moving forward in astrology, but we'll talk about that on another video. Pisces rising. All right, this is going to be going through, let's see, man, I'm just gonna put my timestamps. This is going to be going through Pisces rising, the second house, Aries at the first half of the month, and then the later half of the month, the first house. All right, we have Venus connected to the third and the ninth house. So this is going to be all about reevaluating with your personal values and having stricter boundaries with you and yourself in regards to other people. Finances also too, you might be reassessing just some things that you want to do when it comes to your money, and also when it comes to like what it is that you actually want to create too in this lifetime. You might be moving in a new direction, you know, especially if the things that you have done have been a little bit more focused on serving other people. You could be asking yourself, what are some of the things that you want to create for yourself? It's not to say that you still won't be doing work and helping and to be of service of other people, but you'll be a little bit more focused on like, what do I want to create? What do I want to make? And what are some of the things that I want to do? You know what I'm saying? Know that you are divinely protected. Know that there might be some things that in this month that you're going to have to let go. And know that that is okay. Whether that's a mindset, whether that is relationships or a specific relationship, whether that's a personal goal or maybe something that you wanted to do, just know that it's the most beneficial for your overall health. And choose yourself, okay, Pisces rising. At the end of the day, if the situation, whatever the case may be, does not make you feel good, if the environment does not make you feel safe, then you need to remove yourself from those spaces. You need to reassess those things. How do you show up? What are your beliefs about yourself? What are the thoughts surrounding your inherent values and beliefs, and allowing that to be the key to you being able to move forward and do what it is that's going to be best for you, and continue to choose yourself. You know, the North Node is in Pisces, boo. The Saturn is in Pisces still. Neptune is in Pisces, but we'll be moving to Aries at the end of the month. So it's about you, boo. I mean, it's always been about you, but it's about you. You know what I mean? So use this energy wisely. Take the time you need to slow down and really reassess what that means and what that looks like for you. And who are you now? You know, who do you want to be moving into this new chapter of your life? You know, what is it going to look like to wake up every day and every morning? And, you know, ask yourself these questions and see what comes up for you at this time. Okay, so make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Also leave the comments down below. Let's get through this Venus retrograde. All right, we are going to be oh, let me put the little outro here. I will be posting Mercury retrograde here soon because that's coming up on the 14th. I also will be doing Neptune and Aries this month. I will have an all signs video for Neptune and Aries, but I'll also have a longer video talking about like transits, how is it going to affect, you know, the houses, what have we seen in previous lifetimes, and what that's going to look like. I might end up doing like a live session, but after the live session is over for that particular video, it will be up and available for download. So I'll let y'all know though. I'll keep y'all updated and things like that. If you haven't subscribed to the Substack already, make sure you do that. And I will see y'all on the next video. All right? It's a rainy storm checking in, checking out, without a doubt. Deuces.